This is Dr. Mariah White, host of Your Life Matters. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hey, you're listening to Girl Hustle with Lee and Chelsea. We are two girls making our way in sales and entrepreneurship.
We set out to make this podcast after entering our late 20s and realizing we were hitting a wall and felt like our lives and careers were stagnant. After expressing this feeling to countless other women, we realized we weren't alone.
So each week we're bringing you real conversations with real people that are authentic, realistic, and relatable in hopes that you can grow into the best version of yourself. So strap in and let's hustle. Everybody, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Girl Hustle with Lee and Chelsea. We're just keeping it real.
Absolutely we are.
How has your week been?
Great. I've had a wonderful week. Thank you for asking. What about you?
I mean, no complaints.
That's great.
No complaints here.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Yeah. And we hope that you are having a great week.
Yes.
And that you just are having a wonderful Thursday. And you have beautiful plans for the weekend. But if you don't,
we got something for you.
We have some plans that you should go ahead and make today, because you probably can't make them on the fly, because this place will probably be booked.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing.
Bomb.
So, what we're trying to say is that
if you're a guy listening to this, take your girl on a date. And if you're a girl listening to this, take your guy on a date.
Yeah.
And you'll be happy.
And you'll be happy.
Everyone's a win-win.
Totally.
It's called Butchertown Grocery.
So anyways, what we're trying to say is that our guest on the pod today is
Bobby Benjamin,
who is the owner and chef at Butchertown Grocery.
Yep.
Also Butchertown Bakery.
Amazing.
I mean,
phenomenal.
If y'all, I don't think I consider myself as like a foodie or whatever word you want to call it, but I mean, I love food very much, and my knowledge of cooking is so minimal. I don't know anything about cooking. I'm terrible, and I need to learn more. But my experience every time I go to Butchertown Grocery, it's like everything, you can just tell how much thought and how much passion and how just, I mean, everything is so intricately created.
Nothing's just done to be done.
It's curated. It
has a reason.
It is so wonderful and beautiful, and so I just always have a wonderful experience, and we really wanted to have Bobby on the show.
Yep.
Because, I mean, yes, this is Girl Hustle, and he is a man, not a girl, but we really, really respect his just genuine passion and, like, raw love.
And everybody can learn from everybody, so.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just, like, love that aspect of how he looks at food and how he looks at creating food. I was like, what could I say?
Being a business owner. I mean, that's the best thing about this episode, and you can hear it. Like, his passion for ingredients, for just being so authentic, just being like, this is what I love and this is what I'm doing it, and if you don't like it, that's fine, but you're gonna like it because it's awesome. That's just my opinion. But he just, I've never met someone who could be so passionate about a carrot.
I know.
If I'm being honest.
And like and you'll hear in the interview, there's going to be, if you're not really like a cook or like really into, you know, a very like, you don't have a vast knowledge of cooking, you'll hear some things that you're like, what in the F are you talking about? Like, which is how I felt the entire time, because I'm terrible at cooking, but I was so enthralled and like interested. It's like everything he was saying, I was like, holy cow, please talk about this for another hour. I want to hear about your pepper knowledge. I just like it's so admirable, and it was just inspiring.
Yeah, and how he took something that he's so passionate about and made it a profitable business.
Yes,
I think that's huge. There's so many people that have these passions, but they can't or don't know how to execute it into being a business.
Absolutely.
And ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And made it for the right reasons, because he wants to share that with other people. Not like, I want to be this famous restaurant mogul, which that's great if that's what you want to do, but I don't think that's really his intention. No. He really genuinely just likes to entertain
and the food
people, and really likes to share great food with other humans.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
So get yourself a spot at Butchertown Grocery and listen to this episode and be inspired for real, raw passion.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. Well, enjoy.
Hey everybody, it's Chelsea and Lee with Girl Hustle, and we have one of Louisville's top chefs and business owners, Bobby Benjamin. You might have heard of Butchertown Grocery and Butchertown.
You might have heard of it.
You might have heard of it. It's like a highly rated restaurant here in Louisville. And Butchertown Grocery Bakery. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate being here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you guys haven't been here, you need to get their cookies. What are they? The bourbon
Bourbon barrel. Smoked.
barrel smoked sugar cookie. Game changer.
Game changer.
Had 3.
Yeah, Chef,
No shame.
I'm telling you,
For today.
Chef Barbara Turner, she'll change your life. Every single thing that she does. It's just
Tell them
amazing.
about the Cookie Monster.
The Cookie Monster. The Cookie Monster is just basically, croissant dough that's stuffed with
Wait.
cookie dough and then topped with Oreo.
Jesus.
I don't even know what to say.
Just eat it. You just gotta eat
But
it.
all I know is that it's craveable. We have a lot of people that come here on a constant basis. I mean, between the cookies, the Cookie Monster, we're just constantly baking those all day long. So,
The food is beautiful.
I was about
Thank
to
you.
say, everything downstairs is gorgeous.
I'm just very, very fortunate. I've surrounded myself with a bunch of talented people, and they also allow me to be creative and stuff like that. So it's been.
As far as surrounding yourself, the people you've hired or partnered
Yeah.
with.
Well, I'd say both. I mean, I think that's good for you to say that. I think the people that I partnered with, the people that we partner with are just the best ingredients, not just in the city or state, but in the nation or international. We get a lot of different vinegars and oils from Italy, Spain, Portugal, Chile, France, Canada, California, and Texas. We also get a lot of different ingredients where, our pork or lamb or chicken, we're always trying to source the best farms that we possibly can get our hands on. And we also, we interact with a lot of different farms. I mean, I'm drinking this delicious coffee right here, and this coffee went to Colombia, and I work with some different farmers.
That's awesome.
And learn about coffee.
Incredible.
So I think that, it's a little bit about being geeked out every day. It's like, how can we get better at what we do and really focus on the guest,
Yeah. So there's a couple things I want to dive in on. That is,
Sure.
You're saying from what I can collect, you've invested a lot in your time and your travel and your knowledge. And a
Yeah.
lot of people we talk to, maybe they're a life coach, they're a business coach, and people are like, I don't want to spend that money, but I think you can be a big advocate of, if you're investing in yourself, this is what can come from that. So what's your idea behind investing in knowledge and resources and learning about your products?
I mean, I think that, our philosophy here is how do we find the best ingredients and how do we focus on the authenticity of what we're doing. And it doesn't really matter what we're doing. It can go from picking a barrel of bourbon. It can go from teaming up with a local brewery and making a beer, which we've done. It can be anything from the different ingredients or different dishes. I mean, when we're creating dishes in the kitchen, we're really trying to focus on, if we're working on a pasta, we're really diving into the authenticity of just that cut of pasta. It's like I'm always telling people sometimes that when you form gnocchi and you start slicing gnocchi and you spin that off a gnocchi board, that's orchietti. But if you take the orchietti and you roll the gnocchi, roll the orchietti pasta, then it's cavatelli. And you can go ahead and you can get, and if it's a little bit longer, it's called strozzapreti. It's like, so and then you got to figure out okay, well, where all these pastas come from? How do they derive from these different families? Because it all started in some area in Italy, whether it's a northern pasta, central Italy, or southern, Sicilian, and so. When you look at all these different pastas, then you also actually have to figure out why that pasta was created. And what sauce was with this. Some of these pastas don't have much sauce at all. Some of them are thicker cut pastas that are going to go with more of your braised meats. So when you see if you see a pappardelle pasta and it's with vegetables, I'm always confused, for example, because they didn't, obviously there wasn't any research done. And so they actually have, whoever's cooking that actually has no idea what they're doing to a point. And so that's the thing is to me, it's the respect, because if I don't have respect for what I'm doing with someone's craft that they started, 200, 300 years ago, what am I doing? Why do I even wear a coat? I should find another profession.
Every word you just said, I have no idea, but that is so amazing that you I think it's so important that you are so passionate and so you want to learn about this stuff and you want to respect the craft. I think that's incredible.
I think it's important. I think everybody wants to know. I mean, I think that the more that we talk about food today, the more that we get an understanding. I mean, food has grown so much in the past 20 years that I can remember being 19 years old and, working with an ingredient that is used today. It was used in fine dining 20 years ago, and today it's used in mass-produced banquets for 4,000 people, where that ingredient's not even, it's kind of laughed at. Before it was 43 cents a carrot, now that carrot's 3 cents or a penny, and so it's it's so different. It's about as different as night and day of what food has done in 20 years. And so with this 20-year growth, there's so much to talk about. We could be here all day long, but what I find interesting about food is that we've been very, very educated and very fortunate to have a lot of people speaking about food and making us aware on TV. And then, there's pros and cons to everything. Some people are against Food Network and stuff like that. I'm not. I think that it's all great. I think that that's great. I think that what's happening with farms today is great. I think that there's a lot of things that's happening that's great. The thing is trying to actually connect all the dots that become more difficult for everybody right now. And what I mean by that is when you go ahead and you are you're cooking cuisine or you're cooking food, what are you cooking? How are you cooking? I mean, I think that a lot of the, is there a book for the home cook today that really breaks down true, proper technique of cooking food, and the authenticity of why that started? It's kind of I think a lot of us that are in our late 30s or early 40s, we've learned a lot from our grandparents, a lot of different, really these different unique nuances, of, hey, if you do this, then this will turn out this way, or and I think that that's starting to diminish a little bit more, so it's becoming more difficult to connect the dots.
Right. Yeah. So, what do you say to somebody what makes a successful restaurant? Because when I go to your restaurant, from the really beautiful wine glasses to the way your employees act and look to how your bathrooms smell to your service, what do you think makes a successful business and where your passion lies in that?
There's so much to talk about there. I mean, I think,
everything.
There's so much to talk about. I think that you have to wake up every day and you have to act like you're opening up your restaurant all over. It's new today. I consider Butcherstown Grocery and the bakery new this week. What are we doing this week that we didn't do last week? You just can't do it all at once, and so it's a constant progression. It's a lifestyle, and that's why I think people always ask, they'll ask me questions like that. Hey, why is everything so successful? And I'm just it's a constant lifestyle. It's how are we going to get better? What are we doing? How are we doing it? When are we doing it? And then also at the same time, you have to have your whole team. And I think the team is the key. It's if you have a whole team that's passionate and they're driven and they want to learn, then it's the perfect environment. We've had a lot of students from Sullivan University that have came on board and they progress well. I have a lot of people that have been with me for 3-4 years now. And they're
That's a
super
pretty long time for a restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and what's exciting is that they continue to want more now. So now that they've been learning, how to handle food, I think that's the best way to start this is when you have a team in the back of the house, you have a team in the front of the house. The most challenging thing is trying to get the whole team to focus on the details. This at the back of the house, how to handle all those ingredients. The front of the house to be so particular about every single detail. And all it is to me is it's how do we get the whole team back of the house, front of the house on the same playbook.
That's what I literally had to write this down before I forgot. Is I think it's really hard because I'm in business sales, so I go to businesses and corporations and things like that, and they're like, I can't get people to work, I can't hire people, I can't get them to stay, or the people I have, they don't do it. So like, how do you get your people to buy in?
It's just really training. It's teaching. It's understanding what our culture is about, and I think that's where it starts. It starts with a culture that you're going to have, showcasing like your vision. This is our vision, and this is our culture. We're a very authentic culture that is going to be focused on our guest first and not ourselves. So if you're about yourself, you can go to the restaurant down the street. It's fine. It's no hard feelings. Not going to hurt my feelings at all. It's actually going to save me a lot of time and frustration. But that's what it is. It's I think that it's really your culture. It's constantly building your culture. Because in the restaurant business, or any business, I should say, you're going to go through tough times. It's just like I always say that being in a restaurant is no different. Being a restaurant owner is no different than being married. There's going to be difficult times. There's going to be amazing times. There's going to be times where you're celebrating each other, and at the same time that you really want to. When everything's going really, really well, what do? You start celebrating other people's marriages, or you celebrate other people's businesses. I love other restaurants out there in the city, or even nationwide. They're doing really, really good things, because when I have a writer that comes to my restaurant, and everything's going well, I never, ever, ever forget to say, hey, you know what? You need to go check out this other restaurant too before you leave town or whatever, because they're doing great things. You know what I mean? Like, you want to celebrate each other. The other thing is, like, there's times where things are tough, and so, like, you don't think about celebrating anybody. You're just trying to think about how to keep your head above water, And so that's kind of what it is. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, let's just be real. It's just the way it is.
That's like in sales too. Like when you're like on top of your game, you're like, you go, like that's awesome, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need a sale. You're like, I hope you catch a cold and have to stay home. I feel that.
So that's what it is, and I love it. I absolutely love this business.
Well, when I was working with you, one of the things I really thought was awesome about our first meeting was you said you want your vendors to feel like they're a part of your Butchertown Grocery family. You know,
absolutely.
If they need a drink, we get them a drink. If they're hungry, we get them food. Or I can't remember all that you said, but I was like, that is so. I feel like that is awesome to be like, we're a team. I want everyone to feel like they're a part of our team.
Everything used to be that way. I mean, everything used to be that way. It used to be, if you had a guy walking down the street and you saw that person every single day, if you were an owner, you would actually like walk out and give that person a burger. Hey, hey, Johnny, how's it going? Here, have a burger, whatever. It's like that's how things used to be. And today, it's like that person can walk by every single day. The whole year, no one's going to say anything to them. And so what I'm trying to do is continue that, that philosophy is like every single thing matters, and every single thing that we do has a purpose, and making sure that everyone that's part of the team feels comfortable in doing that.
Right.
So.
It's incredible. Where do you think your passion came from? What sparked this? Take us back to the beginning.
Oh, it's a long journey.
We have time. So.
I think it started. It started in my childhood. I think I think that everything, passion. I think passion just gets stronger and stronger over the years. And so, I grew up in an extremely poor family, and so. It was one of those things like I'd cook dinners for my twin brother. Sometimes I would, I started working early too in the kitchen. So, when you start working early in the kitchen, it just, everything, you don't realize that you're not even that passionate then when you're a kid. But as you get into your teens, and I think by the time I was 16 years old, I knew I wanted to be a chef. I knew I wanted to be a restaurant owner.
That's awesome.
So, you have that, and then you're trying to figure out more. You're trying to learn more, and I didn't really know anything outside of farms, at 17 years old, 18 years old. That's kind of what we did, and that was way before the farm to table movement, and that's just what we did as cooks. And so I think that I think over the years, traveling, just spending more time with people that are authentic, that you're learning about the right way and the wrong way of doing things. You almost get this bug, and this bug just gets, you just get more passionate every single year that you learn more, whether it's, when you go in these different phases too, because like there's sometimes you'll be like, hey, what am I into today?
Yeah.
Well, I might be into, seafood, so I'm just going to study seafood for 4 months, and then you get into vegetables, whatever. You'll study vegetables for 3 or 4 months, and then you'll get into like what type of vegetable, and then I'm geeked out about carrots, so now I'm just going to study carrots for 3 months, and so you'll just study carrots for 3 months. Then it's like, okay, what else are we going to study? And then we're going to study, we'll study bourbon or whatever. And so that's the thing, is like whatever we're studying, whether it's like I said, coffee, bourbon, anything. I think that we're just like really into it. I mean, we've even had blind tests on water in the restaurant. We're like, hey, we're really thinking about sparkling water. Hey, you know what? Josh, go ahead and pour 8 different waters. We'll taste every single water, and we'll have a discussion about like why each sparkling water is either better or different, and why it's different. Do we want to drink this now? Do we want to drink in the winter? Do we want to drink in the summer? Why do we want to drink in the summer? You start thinking about all these different things, and so I think that you can just stay passionate about pretty much anything that you're doing.
That's awesome. What are you geeked about right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Pretty. I mean, I will say this. I've been passionate about calamari. I've been getting really into fresh calamari, trying to find out where I can get the best calamari right now. So I'm getting the best calamari right now out of Rhode Island. And
do you go to all these places?
Several, yeah. I mean, I was just up in Rhode Island about a year and a half ago. And I was eating some different calamari up there, but I was also eating some different oysters too, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. I got to hang out with the chef up there, and I was like really learning a lot about the seafood program. Mm-hmm. And I'm originally from Rhode Island, so it was like I got super geeked out about it. I thought it was even really, really cool. But I'm really, really geeked out about it because I started getting into that. I started really learning more about Squid Ink, and just learning that there's a lot of fake product out there. There's a lot of real product out there. It's kind of like, it's kind of fascinating. We have almost 75 sources of calamari that we can get in the United States, and it's pretty interesting to know that there's really only a couple of them that really are, I think personally, quality calamari. So. Yeah. And same thing with the Squid Ink, it's like trying to get fresh Squid Ink, it's pretty amazing. So anyways, just I'm pretty fascinated about that right now, and I'm also really starting to study a lot more on peppers. So I've been really, really starting to focus on a lot of different types of chilies to use in different bases for sauces, because I like to use, I like to start out a lot of my sauces with a lot of cold olive oil. And build it with the chilies. So I do like more like chilies, onions, and then build with some garlic, and then keep on, kind of like building. Mm-hmm. And so, but I like the chilies to go first. And so now I'm starting to understand. So just a little bit. I get geeked out about, Spanish chilies or Italian chilies and Colombian chilies. We had this one chili in Colombia when I was in Colombia. That was pretty amazing, and I walked into this kitchen. It was a 100% female kitchen, and it was amazing. They were throwing down hard, and the food was just the food was incredible. It would blow your mind how incredible it was. It was super authentic, and I had some of the best paella I've ever had in my life. And just everything was like super authentic, super real, super passionate people. I ate there 3 times in 3 days, and I learned about this chili in Colombia, and so I was like, hey, how do I get that chili here? So I talked to my farmer here locally, And Lisa was Spade and Table, and I was like, "Hey, can you get this chili for me?" And she's like, "Yeah, I can get this chili." And it took a few months to get the seed from Colombia, but she was actually able to plant the seed on a 100% certified organic farm
That's incredible.
like 20 minutes away, not even 20 minutes away, 15 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
And so we actually started growing these chilies from Colombia, and then we started making this similar hot sauce that I was eating in Colombia, and then I went ahead and got it here. So,
Oh, how cool!
Oh my gosh.
so
That's amazing.
it was
It's a
super-
tattoo for, you can't see this, but I think you're listening, but
Yeah,
that's
so-
incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful chilies. They're just very, very vibrant. They have so much. They're like sweet. They have so much depth. It's like no other chili I've ever had in my life. And the thing is because like it's almost like the spice. It kind of climbs and it lingers, but it's not aggressive and it's super, super fruity. So it's got some sweetness to it too, which is really, really cool. And I just think that you can just use that chili for anything. It's amazing. It's funny. We started cooking, and the first time I started cooking, everybody was getting choked out in the kitchen because if you cook them certain different ways, it can really choke you out. But it's kind of fun. So
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
So we get super, super geeked out about that too.
That's tight.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like
Cool.
chilies, calamari. Next week we're gonna be we have a board that we have in our annex that is just focused on specials, and so we're always writing specials on there. And so next week I think we're doing like some Bronzino next week, so we're pretty excited about that. But we're always doing always something. So if you talk to me every single week, we're thinking a week ahead about what we're doing.
Smart.
Sometimes 2 or 3 weeks ahead. So it's kind of like that's what we're always focused on. So we will be doing porchetta in another 2 weeks. So it's just like whatever.
So what do you do to stay in the? Because you guys are in the spotlight. Butchertown Grocery is a hot spot in Louisville always. Is there something that you think you guys do to make that happen, or is it just girl, our food is good and that's what it is?
No. I tip my hat off a lot, really, to our servers. I think our servers are a big reason why. We spend a lot of time with education. So, right now, we're on the 5th week of our bourbon series. So we're doing a 6-week series on just constant bourbon education for our whole team. And then the next series, we'll take 2-week break, and then we're going to be moving into a wine series that will last 6 weeks. And then we'll probably take another 2-week break, and then we're going to be moving into a hospitality series where we focus on service details. And then going after that, we'll move into what food does for your body. And we're going to break down what Butchertown Grocery's food does for your health.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the service side of things? Because a lot of people listening to this, I think that's what really makes any business
I think that it's knowing where everything. First of all, we try to make sure that everyone knows where everything comes from. They eat and they drink everything. Even all our tasting menus, they taste every wine. They've tasted every bourbon.
Yeah.
It's just a constant education. We want everyone to be super excited about every single thing that we're doing, and that's and because the thing is, if they're excited about it and they've been able to eat everything and drink, then they're going to be able to actually they're going to be able to dive in and
know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and be able to educate everyone.
I feel knowledge is power in everything you do.
Absolutely.
In sales, if you know what you're talking about, people are going to trust that you know what you're talking about.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you're from Rhode Island originally.
Originally, yeah.
What brought you to good old
I was
It's
going to ask that.
just been a journey. It's I moved here 10 years ago. I got a position to be a chef at the Oak Room. I was running a 5
Oh, that's awesome.
5-diamond restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was a great opportunity.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what was your first job? Your first job that you were holy shit, I'm a chef now. Where you felt like you had made it, essentially.
I still don't feel that way. So I still don't feel that way. I don't know. I think that I opened up a restaurant called Flight World Dining and Wine in Nashville. I was 26 years old.
Wow.
And I opened
really
it. It was interesting. I opened it between I always say this because it would kind of pinpoints the area that we were in, but we opened it up between a meth clinic and a social club. In quotations.
Incredible.
And so when you open that, and it was across from a liquor store called Frugal McDougal Liquor Store.
That's a great name.
So it's kind of an interesting area. It was a very, very seedy area, obviously. And that, I think it was probably, we were about a year and a half in, and we won several awards, and I think I took maybe 10 days off, and I slept at the restaurant all the time. I never forget, braising short ribs and, pulling the short ribs out at 4:00 in the morning, in my socks,
That's crazy.
So it was just one of those things where I was like, I think that was that moment where I was like, I'm actually all in. Like, I'm a chef now. I'm actually, not only do I have the title, but I'm actually acting like one.
Yeah.
And that is doing everything that you have to do to make sure that your guests are happy. And that is, that's cooking at 4:00 in the morning after a long service or a long day.
Yeah. So what do you do when you have like a client or someone that's eating at your restaurant and they're just, I don't know, something went wrong and they're out of control? How do you handle one of those situations?
I don't have to handle any of that.
I let other people do it.
There's other people that handle that. Listen, I can't handle that kind of stuff because I think that I could. Obviously, I'm just joking, but I think that that's why I have great GMs and assistant GMs to handle situations like that, because I think that there are times, you know how it is, you have a bad day, and if you have a bad day and things are just constantly climbing, and you have someone that says like, hey, you know what, I don't like this pasta dish, and that you sell like 1,000 of those a week, and you haven't had a complaint in over a year on that pasta dish, and that might be the straw that broke the camel's back that day. So all you do is you just take a deep breath and say, well, I guess I just apologize that person doesn't enjoy it, and maybe it's not for them. We're not going to be for everyone. That's just the way it is. I don't think that you're always for everyone, but at the same time, when you spend that much time working on a dish,
I'm so good at crisis management. I think it's just from my service experience and because I've been in the restaurant world just serving for oh my gosh, over 10 years now.
Right.
I have people come up to me and they're like, Lee, will you go talk to my table, because I don't know how to handle these people. I don't know, it's my specialty. I calm people down so easily.
Yeah, it's
really
pretty intense.
It's so difficult sometimes though, because it's customers are the X factor that they're always just oh my gosh, that you have no idea how they're going to act, you have no idea how they're going to react. People have the weirdest taste buds in the world. People come in with their own baggage.
Well, that's why I think
it's hard to keep people happy.
It is. I think that you hit on the bullseye. I think that there's only, for me, I think that if you're super educational and you really let your table or your guests know what we're about, what we're doing, I think you're great. But I think that you are going to have times that you have no idea. People are living their personal lives just like we are, and they're going to have bad days just like we do.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to have that understanding too, because if someone may be having a bad day, they could have lost a family member, or you have no idea. And that's why I try to train my team as well. It's you just don't have any idea sometimes. And as far as taste buds, everyone likes something different. So if they don't like it, they don't like it. If they're happy, then keep it moving.
Yeah,
totally.
So
absolutely.
So for the newbie, rookie, dreamer, what would you say? What made you start your business, and what advice would you give them from what you learned?
I think you just have to work harder than anyone around you every day. And when you think your day is done, you have to spend another half hour getting ready for the next day.
Yeah.
That's the best advice, because that's what I did. You got to work harder than everyone around you every day.
I love that.
Do one more thing. That's our motto. We
Yeah,
always say
one
once
more
you feel
thing.
like you've put everything in, just do one more thing. And then
Yep.
call it day.
Yeah, you always
love
got
that.
a little bit left in you.
Oh, always.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Is it yoga time?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be yoga time.
So
Yeah.
this is what we tell you at the end. Like you have like in yoga, you're able to do your.
They just say, like, this is a free period. Do
Yeah.
whatever pose that you want. So this is just, like, a couple minutes that you can literally, if you want to talk about something that's coming up with, you know, Butchertown Bakery, Butchertown Grocery, if you want to talk, I don't know, a Netflix series you're watching that you're jazzed
A
about.
book you're reading.
Yeah, so this is kind of your open space that you get to say whatever you want.
I mean, there's almost so much to talk about when it comes up to what we're doing over at Butchertown Grocery or the bakery, because, you know, Butchertown Grocery, we use Butchertown Grocery almost like a commissary for the bakery, meaning like if you're going to eat a soup at the bakery, it pretty much was cooked at Butchertown Grocery. You know, if you're going to eat bread or pastry or dessert, it's made here at the bakery and brought over there. So we're constantly feeding each other back and forth. I think we're always doing something. I mean, we're always running specials over at Butchertown Grocery in the bakery. You know, we sell a lot of bourbon. You know, I mean, that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't know is that we have a retail license. You know, here at the bakery and over at Butchertown Grocery. I mean, we want all the women out there to buy their man, you know, some bourbon. You know, like
V-Day next week.
I just say help a man out. I mean, listen,
Buy your own bourbon. Like, do whatever you want, girl. Like, fill it.
That is true too. But I'm just trying to help the guys out right now because I feel like the guys usually don't get anything for Valentine's Day.
Right.
But if they could get a bottle of bourbon,
Yeah.
I mean, or two,
What's
or
a better
three.
gift than that?
Exactly. So that's kind of, you know, I think that's kind of, I mean, and when it's
Yeah.
all barrel picks, I mean, I pick all those barrels, and we have everything from single barrels to, we have our own recipe that we did with our Private Select with Makers. We also have blended, and so, you know, you have pretty much a, you know, do you want Woodford? Do you want Four Roses? Do you want Eco Rare? Do you want Willet? Do you want,
Right.
you know, Knob Creek? It's like we picked them all, you know. So I think that's pretty exciting, and a lot of people don't know that about us. I think that you know, besides that, we're always just, you know, we do a lot of stuff with events, you know. So I think that's something that I think a lot of people should know too. We throw a lot of birthday parties. We just do a 40th. Yeah, we just do a 40th birthday party just a couple weeks ago. That was pretty amazing.
That's amazing. I forgot you guys have private events too. Yeah,
We
that's
do private
amazing.
events. We do custom cakes. I mean, it's almost the sky's the limit. You know,
Yeah.
we're kind of like that one-stop shop. You
You
know,
have
it's
that like one secret staircase to the room that opens
I
up
do.
later. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Which I love. So
I've never
much.
been there yet. I've been everywhere else that
yeah.
you've got,
Is it that
but
one area?
just not that one area.
You know, we do a lot of tasting menus there. A lot of the seven course I was telling you about. So that's what we do in a lot. We do the 7-course tasting menus there, but we do them throughout. You know, the 7-course tasting menu is 7 days a week, and we've been doing that for a few years now. So
That's awesome.
it's kind of like pick your journey. You know,
Yeah.
that's what we always say. That's what's nice about Butchertown Grocery or the bakery. Is when you come in, you can truly pick your own journey. You know, if you're at Butchertown Grocery, you can stop by, you know, on the way home, grab a burger. You can grab a
Which are
a
amazing.
pasta, or you can have a 3-course meal or a 7-course tasting menu. So you can almost like choose your own journey. If you want to, you know, if you want to throw an event, let us know. We got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Whatever cuisine you want to do. You want tacos? We'll do tacos. You
Oh,
know, it's
heck
like, so it's kind of fun. But it's, you know, I think the sky's the limit. I mean, the same thing at the bakery. You know, we've been cooking a lot of pizza at the bakery.
Your pizzas look so good.
They're delicious. Our pepperoni is from Southern Rome,
Oh my gosh.
and it's we actually purchased it through New Jersey, and
That's unreal.
and our mozzarella is from Italy as well. So the thing is like and it's a 3-day dough, a lot of flavor. So
That's awesome.
right now we do cheese and pepperoni, and we're gonna play around with some other flavors soon. But I think that's one thing that I think a lot of people are really buying more than anything right now. Like we were looking at our sales the other day, and we're like, wow,
Pizzas.
people
what's
love the
up?
pizzas.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
It's
know
really
this
good.
is like your yoga time, but I just had another question.
Yeah.
Is so sorry. Hold child's pose, please. My question is, your menu, it's not like a cheap menu. And when I think that I go into like other things, like people talk about assessing your value,
Yeah.
you know, what do you say to somebody that is looking at like the cost of it? Because what you pay for when you eat is worth every single penny.
Well, it's
but
also.
how do you?
I think it's because the thing is what we designed. Like at Butchertown Grocery, everything's designed family style.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we talk to our servers about, and we want to keep it that way because I think that's what food. We notice that on a constant basis too, especially with parties that are 4 people, 4 guests or more that dine. They're constantly sharing. So it's like,
absolutely.
so if they're constantly sharing, I mean, that's kind of how it all started because what happened was it all started out with our gnocchi because the gnocchi was like, we first put on the menu, it was, it was half the size. So the price was half, but the thing is, everyone was ordering 2 of them. So it's like, okay, well now the kitchen has to cook, they have to use 2 pans to cook 2 portions, and then you need a server hand on 2 plates for that table. And it's like, why don't we just go up on the portions since everyone just keeps wanting more?
Yeah.
And they just kept wanting more and more and more. So we're like, you know what? Let's go up on the portion. And that way, we're going to make everything easier for everyone, make everything easier for the kitchen, the server, and the guest. And so everyone wins. And so that was where the value really came into play. And so that's one thing that we hear a lot from our guests is like, wow, you never leave Butchertown Grocery hungry.
Yeah. And
You
had
leave
that
in like a
gnocchi, and it
wheelbarrow.
is out of this world. Like, insane out of this
Thank you.
world.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. It really is. I mean, even our family style, tasting menus. Tasting menus, we decided to do the family style tasting menu because we wanted to be casual. We wanted people to like drink and have a good time and pass plates around. And then by the time you know it, you got bottles of wine on the table. And when you leave, it actually looks like it's like you had a great time. Like it's not like it was, this really tight, stuffy environment where you'll don't know what to do or don't know what fork to use or whatever, or do you have to really dress up? I mean, that's the thing too, is like, we wanted a very comfortable environment where you can walk into Butchertown Grocery or the bakery in shorts and a t-shirt if you want to. You don't have to get so dressed up. I mean, people dress differently too now. It's like, we have people are wearing very expensive jeans, and that's what I like to wear too. That's a nice, comfortable pair of jeans. But that's what people want to dress more casual too. So let them be casual. Let them be casual and share food and have great bourbon and great wine. And I think that is the value. At the same time, it's authentic and it tastes good. So it's like
Absolutely.
so that's. I mean, does that answer?
Yeah, because a lot of times people are like, how do I put a price on things, or how do I sell the value in it? And so I think you guys is with the server's knowledge and the product, the quality of the ingredients.
You gotta think about all that. Yeah, I mean, everything's organic too, and everything's natural. It's like it's real. So we don't have any preservatives hiding cost. So we just have. I mean, that's the thing that's challenging for me to be clear. Is like, how is it that my prices are only a couple dollars higher than the person next door?
Yeah. Well, my question I always have for restaurants.
If I can flip that question.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for sure. Well, my question is like learning how to monitor your levels of products, because like how much goes to waste? How do you... that blows my mind.
It's training. And I think, it's training. I think the thing that we think about and we talk about the most is the vinegars and oils that we use, because all the vinegars and oils are very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And so, if you have... $5,000 worth of vinegars and oils that show up 1 week, it's got to last. You can't have cooks, making all the stuff to order and then throwing away all this vinegar and oil that costs so much money. It gets really, really pricey really quick.
Totally.
So
Interesting.
Amazing. Do you want to end it on
oil
and vinegar?
I would love to. So where can the people find you?
Where we're at. You know where we are.
Can people follow Butchertown Grocery or Butchertown Bakery
Listen.
on social media is what she was trying to say. What are y'all's handles?
I was like, I'm not giving you my address.
Well, my cell phone is blah blah blah. Yeah.
Listen, I don't even keep up with social media either, so.
Okay. Well, I'll let them know. It's
We'll
that.
find it and we'll put it in the link in the details of this podcast. But thank you so much for joining
problem.
us today. This has been incredible. I think
Thank you
that
so much.
out of all our guests, you probably have been like one of the most passionate and knowledgeable ones about what you're doing. So we really appreciate your time. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we will see y'all next week for another episode, and have a happy Thursday.